Hello, my name is Joan Haig and I write books for children, and I have written a book called Tiger Skin Rug. This is John. He's my book mascot, and he comes with me to all festivals and book events, and we are delighted to be taking part in the Harps and Stories festival that's brought to you by Hands on Harps. The reason that we're taking part is that the very clever and talented composer and harpist Hannah Haynes has set to music 3 scenes from Tiger Skin Rug and an additional scene that's a sort of imagining of what happens after the story ends. I'll be doing some reading for you today. I will tell you a little bit about the story as we go along. I'll read the extracts and then you'll get to listen to the music that Hannah has created. It's brought to you by Hannah herself and the clarinetist Bill Blackwood. I really hope you enjoy this session, and there'll be some information at the end about how you can purchase the novel and also the sheet music that Hannah has made available. So just sit back and enjoy. Tiger Skin Rug is the story of 2 boys who come from India to Scotland. Now, they were living in a modern city apartment in downtown Mumbai where there was a shiny shopping complex and cinemas, and they had all their friends there, and they've moved from this lovely life they had to this old cold stone house in the Scottish countryside where everything is grey. The house is even called Greystanes. It drizzles there. They haven't made friends yet, and they're just very homesick when they first get to the house. Now, one of the things about the house is that when they move in, it's fully furnished, and it's fully furnished with very old-fashioned things. So lots of dusty bookshelves and an old piano, lots of old ornaments. And one of the things that they discover is that in the drawing room of the house, there is an old tiger skin rug lying in the centre of the room. Now, Lal, who is the oldest brother, really doesn't like this rug. It's the only thing from India, actually, that he can see, but it's not the India he knows. And he just doesn't like going in this room and seeing this dead tiger on the floor. In fact, he comes to believe that it's a little bit haunted because the tiger's eyes seem to follow him around, and strange things happen to him when he's in the room. But his younger brother Dilip doesn't have such an aversion to this rug. He instead goes into the drawing room and he will sit with the tiger skin rug and whisper to the rug. And he tells the tiger about his worries and his secrets, and he whispers to the tiger about being homesick. And both boys, really all they want is to go home. But there's something magical about Dilip's whispers, and the more he whispers to the tiger, the more the tiger seems to come to life. Now, he tries to tell this to Lal, his brother, a couple of times, and Lal doesn't really believe him, or he sort of dismisses what Dilip is saying because he doesn't want to know about this creepy tiger skin rug. They're both out playing. They meet the next door neighbour. She's a girl called Jenny, and we'll hear more about her. They're out playing with her the first day they meet, and then Dilip skips off and disappears. And after a while, Lal wonders where his little brother is. And this is the scene in which Lal, for the first time, sees that the tiger skin rug actually comes to life. The extract is called Through the Window. A raven croaked, brought me back to where I was, sitting on the veranda getting cold. I knew where Dilip would be. He'd be in the drawing room next to that rug. I stepped to the side of the tall window to spy on him. What did he do in there? Dilip had sidled up to the tiger's ear and started talking. At first it was in whispers, and then he became animated, throwing his arms about. The sun was dazzling, so I cupped my hands up to my eyes and against the glass to see into the room. Whatever it was I thought I was going to see, it wasn't this. Dilip kept on waving his arms and whispering to the tiger. Slowly, his words turned into white wisps, curling and whirling around the drawing room. Dilip was like a sorcerer or a mad conductor whipping up a distant music. Suddenly he stopped and leaned backwards on his arms, and he scuttled sideways like a crab away from the rug. I pressed in closer to the glass. The wisps danced across the tiger's skin. It was clear this time. This was no trick of the light. Something, what was it, was rippling across the tiger's skin, rippling up from underneath it. The ripples were growing. Tendons stretched and pulled against the tiger's fur, its tail lengthened, filling out and rising, a banded torso taking shape. In no time at all, its shoulders had curved and its legs were pushing its bulk solidly upwards. It was coming to life. The tiger skin rug was coming to life. I grabbed the door handle and jerked it down, but it was locked from the inside. I yelled and threw myself against the glass. Hammering at the handle, I looked to see the beast twisting round towards Dilip. I sprinted, frantic, tripping at the green gate, falling on the gravel. And then scrambling up, I felt the heat of grazed palms, but I didn't look down. I kept going. I flew in through the huge door and bolted across the hallway. Dilip! But when I got to him, my voice and my courage fell away. Dilip? So through the window is the scene where Lal discovers for the first time that Dilip's whispers are magic and that they can actually magic this tiger skin rug to life. The tiger isn't dangerous. In fact, Dilip's made friends with it. And it tells the boys a rather sad thing. This is that it's got a promise to keep. It had a promise in life and it cannot rest until it keeps this promise. It asks the boys to help it keep the promise, and in return, it will take Lal and Dilip home. Now that's the one thing that both the boys want, so they agree to the task and they rope in their new friend Jenny, who's a frizzy-haired Scottish girl who lives next door. And the three children and the tiger decide that they will go together on this adventure. They find some clues along the way, and one of them is a label that's tacked onto the inside of the tiger skin rug, and it's the name of an auctioneer in London. And the children think if they can get to London and speak to this auctioneer, then they can find out more information about where the tiger came from. So this scene, the next scene I'm going to read you, is from when the children set off on that first adventure, the night that they decide to help the tiger. The tiger crouched. Jenny sat up front with Dilip, and I pulled myself onto the tail end. Now that the tiger was in animal form again, its fur wasn't dull and worn. It was glossy and almost loose enough to grip to in patches. "We're on," I said, and patted the tiger. It rose to its feet, its back swaying from side to side. A meter isn't very high until you're on the top of a tiger. I felt on top of the world. Now in the garden, the tiger padded stealthily to the grass edge, barely leaving a pug mark on the soft ground. The tiger followed the curving hedge around to the hidden garden. It was late at night, but still light outside. In India, it would have been pitch black at this hour, but here in this queer country, the sun hadn't long set. The sky was still a watery blue. Clouds streaked across it like white arrows. The hidden garden looked different in twilight. Pale shadows lurked. There were splashes in the pond and rustlings in the bushes. Night creatures and frogs going about their ways. Jenny would be jumpy normally, and Dilip might have whimpered, but neither of them made a sound. The tiger stepped into the middle of the garden and onto the stone circle. It edged its hind backwards and sank its head down into its shoulders. We tensed inwards with our elbows and ankles. The big cat twitched, as if about to pounce on some imaginary prey. Its haunches trembled, and suddenly, swiftly, it sprang forwards, pushing with strong back legs, and we tucked in our knees and we held our breath as up we went, and up and up and up. I gasped, my tummy somersaulted, and I curled inwards to Dilip, daring only to look with squinted eyes. Up above the houses, above streets, the schools, the fields, we flew. We were so high that the farms below looked like Dilip's toy farm, then like Jenny's picture books, and then like a dream. I've been joined by another tiger. This is my cat, whose name is Pip. Now the scene that we just heard was called The Tiger Takes Flight. So part of the magic of the tiger is that it can fly, and it flies the children to London. It also flies them to the city of Coventry, and it flies them to Mumbai in India. And when they're in India, they land in this back street of the city and they meet a street girl and her little feisty gang. Her name is Mani, and she agrees to help them. They are with her going through a tunnel, and this scene is called Storm Ahead. The tunnel stank. It was black at first, but as my eyes adjusted, I made out the others' bleary figures ahead. Dirty water trickled down the sides, and a shallow, slimy stream ran underfoot. Clumps of earth, occasional stones, and rusty nail ends poked up from the concrete, making it tricky not to trip. "Fast now," Mani's voice bounced off the walls. "It will rain soon. It will flood." So I pushed forwards. If the pipe flooded, we would all drown in filthy water. I prodded Dilip's back to hurry him, and as my own feet picked up pace, so did my thoughts. It was Varsha, the wet season, when monsoon rains swept across India, making it the wettest place on earth. These were the rains that fell like hammers, the rains that gathered into rivers and swept away streets. These were the rains that I'd missed so much, but now I wished over and over for Scottish drizzle. And then I heard it. At first it sounded like a far-off rumbling, but it grew louder and louder, rushing water. "Fast, fast!" Mani's voice was all we had to go on, and we ran to it. The sound of the water was rising. The tiger was at my heels, its rasping hot breath urging me on. The flood of water would reach us any moment now, and the noise was almost upon us, thundering. I pictured a tsunami rolling up behind us. Taking Dilip's hand, I pulled him forwards with me, running as fast as I could. A glimmer appeared ahead, the end of the tunnel. We ran towards it. The light at the pipeline opened up and grew bigger, ragged with the street kids' silhouettes. I jumped towards them, and we all poured out. The monsoon rains are just one of the challenges that the children face on their journey. The main challenge is actually that a villainous character seems to be following them, and part of their task is to find out who this person is and what he wants. And I hope that that entices you to read more of the story on your own, and of course to listen again to the beautiful music that Hannah has created. The book is available in bookshops in the UK and the US, and Hannah's sheet music is available from her website. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an absolute joy to take part in the Harps and Stories Festival. We're going to leave you now with a scene that doesn't appear in the book. It's one that I imagine taking place after the story had ended. When the tiger appears in the book and the magic of the tiger appears, it's often accompanied by the sound of bells. And I had in my head that the three children would meet again at some point down by a riverside, and that the sound of the river would sound to them like bells, and it would signal to them that the magic of the tiger had gone on and on.